Good morning, everybody. I think we're on 1 minute early. Whew, that never happens. Good morning, everybody.
It echoes like every time. Like
it's because I have to hit the mute button on the computer. So
oh, I got it.
There must be a new Facebook function because there's a new verbiage on the top of the screen. So
exciting.
Like it's in a different language.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
It's very odd. Good morning, Tisha. Good morning, Mimi. Yeah, my Facebook, for whatever reason, is set to, I believe it's French right now.
Okay.
All right, whatever. Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic Sunday morning so far. This is a really important topic, so important that we actually are not going to be able to finish everything today. So this will be a two-part series, and even within that, there's still going to be more information. However, we just want to cover like the general topics, general basics, general things that you want to have in your house. And again, this is going to be a two-part series. So today we're going to just go over like no matter what, whether it's viral, bacterial, parasitic, fungal, things that you absolutely want to have in your house. And then next week, we're going to get a little bit more fine-tuned and detailed. But again, you're going to want to make sure you watch both of these, especially in our current climate. We want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, being proactive with our healthcare. And even if you're not being proactive, how we can be reactive with natural stuff over medical stuff. I shouldn't say medical, more pharmaceutical grade things. So today is really going to be a look at everything holistically and naturally, where we're going to support the body versus treat the body. So
I gotta say, your skin tone looks really good. I want to apologize to everybody. Like my nose is red. I got like a beard going. My nephew and I love to roughhouse, and he scratched the bejesus out of my face. So these are claw marks, and I can't shave because it'll rip open the scratches. So I've got like this half beard going, but we're persevering through it. So just love me for where I'm at. I didn't like roll out of bed and forget to take care of myself. I'm just dealing with the wounds of a 3-year-old. So whatever.
As we like to laugh and say, you got beat up by a 3-year-old.
That's right. He packs a wall up, that kid.
I think we're waiting on just a few more people to hop on here. If everybody could say good morning, let us know you guys are here. And trying to fix this Facebook language thing going on. So
yeah, that's weird.
Who knows? All right. I can't see everybody that's on. Just making sure we don't have a Facebook glitch. So yeah, my whole computer definitely got changed to a different language.
I can help you with that when we're all done today. I just ran a software update on it, so maybe something glitched out there. I'm surprised. I don't know. I was trying to be helpful because I'm going to be gone, and I know you don't do anything. So I was trying to be proactive.
Yeah. What's funny is I'm Googling how to fix it, and they're like, oh, click this, click this. I'm like, no, it's not in English, so I don't know what to click to change it. So good thing everybody's comments are still coming in that I can read. So all right, thanks, Mom. It's showing English. Awesome. Dr. Seth, I don't even know what to click for thumbs up, thumbs down, or anything. So you're in control of commenting today.
I got it.
All right, let's see.
Is it just Facebook or is it your whole computer?
No, I think it's just Facebook, so that's okay.
We'll fix it, whatever.
Easy peasy. All right. All right, you want to kick this off with vitamin D?
Yeah, so really the best way to navigate through a healthy lifestyle and keeping your immune system up is going to be giving your body the right support. So we have been through the ringer over the last 12 to 18 months, living in fear with, potential virus exposures, viral infections, those types of things. And I want to tell you all right now, we are moving into the flu season, okay? And it's a little bit of a silly statement because there is no such thing as a flu season. It's just really what that's speaking to is times of sloppy lifestyle when opportunistic infections can rear their ugly head. So for instance, we're way deep into September. So what holidays in October?
Holiday. Halloween. I can't even think what the name is because it's not a holiday.
And what do we like to do? We like to just bombard our children with candy. And then that moves into Thanksgiving in November, where we're dealing with family stress and getting everything on the table. And oh, by the way, pies and sugar and cakes and all those different types of things. And just in time for Christmas. And how do we celebrate the birth of Christ? Chocolate and candy. So really what we're talking about is making sure your body's strong as possible. You're doing as best as you can to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And I think during that time of year, I would say the most important thing that you can do is maintain high levels of vitamin D. Okay. What you're going to find is whenever a person has got a chronic viral infection, you check their vitamin D and their vitamin D is dead. They don't produce it. They don't synthesize it. They don't metabolize it. It's done. And that's when infections can rear their ugly head. So literally for every person that's trying to maintain health, a minimum of 5,000 international units a day is paramount. Now, if you've got a massive vitamin D deficiency and you're like, oh, I'll start taking 5,000 international units of vitamin D, that isn't going to cut it. That's like your boat is sinking and I give you a 6-ounce cup and say, here, start bailing the water out. It's not going to work that way. So really the right answer is, well, I should have my vitamin D levels checked. If you don't have your vitamin D levels checked, is 5,000 enough? Is 10,000 too much? We have no idea. So how do we go about doing that, Dr. Lacey?
Yeah. So I think the most important thing that you said just in the beginning of that, and, obviously is the keyword maintain, because again, obviously if you're in a crisis, we're still going to recommend vitamin D supplementation, but the key with vitamin D, because it's not just a vitamin, like it's truly like a hormone pathway in the body, is consistency over time. And so that's why this is something like no matter what you come into our clinic with, no matter if you feel great, you don't feel great, like one thing we are 100% going to do is say you need to be on vitamin D because consistency is key with vitamin D. So what we don't want you doing is just like mega dosing. I mean, obviously we're going to recommend that no matter what, but that's not truly the key to longevity and health when it comes to vitamin D levels. So step number one is making sure you know what your vitamin D level is. And most people I find have no idea what that is. And that is really freaking scary to me because that is like such a crucial component that like navigates hormones, your diabetic precursors, your cardiovascular precursors. So like not knowing your vitamin D level is not going to cut it, especially in this day and age. So if you don't know your vitamin D level, we need to find that out ASAP. Okay, so you can get that ran through your doctor. They're going to do it via blood draw, and it's pretty easy to do. Or if you don't have like a primary or you don't want to go into your hospital, we actually have kits in our office that you can do a finger prick and you can get your vitamin D level tested. It takes about 1 to 2 weeks. It's really not a big deal. It's super easy. I've done it. We've done it with the kids. Super, super simple, but you need to know what your vitamin D levels are. So here's what's also crazy about vitamin D levels is where the medical model wants your vitamin D level and where we want your vitamin D level. So where they want your vitamin D level is just high enough to not have symptoms, okay? We want your vitamin D level high enough that you're actually thriving, you're healthy, you're healing, you're at a holistically healthy level, right? So where they typically want you is around 30 to 40, which in my opinion is really, really low. Where we want to see people is around that like 75 level. So again, if you don't know your vitamin D level, you need to get that checked ASAP so that we can be as specific as possible when we're telling you your vitamin D level dosing for just a natural day-to-day supplementation, and also for when you're sick as well too. We were just talking to a couple of patients and they're like, oh, my vitamin D level is like 10. And vitamin D, I think that the thing that's so confusing to people is like, we keep hearing this soliloquy of like, oh, these people were healthy and they got this or they got that. And it's like, well, what are you defining health by? By like what they look like? Because I promise you, what somebody looks like on the outside has nothing to do with how healthy their body is. I just had 3 patients this week that look healthy, and I looked at their blood work and their vitamin D levels were 13, 10, and 8. Guess what? Those people get a virus, whether it's the virus we're all freaked out about right now, the flu, you name it. Their body is in such a bad position right now that good things are not likely to happen. And so our number one thing is getting your vitamin D level to as close to 75 as possible. Anything under 20 is a recipe for absolute disaster. So, and again, that's not like our where we want to be either. It's just like, if you're under 20, there should be a freaking alarm bell going off in your head, like, oh crap, I got work to do. So
Yeah, and then 2 things on that. Not all vitamin Ds are created equal. So
absolutely.
if you got your vitamin D levels checked, they're low, and your doctor's like, all right, we're going to put you on vitamin D. They put you on vitamin D and you keep getting your vitamin D levels checked and they're low. Guess what? That vitamin D is terrible. Okay.
Yep.
Your vitamin D levels should be climbing if you're taking a good quality vitamin D product. We love Thorne because I've seen it over and over and over again. I have a patient's been taking vitamin D for 3, 4, 5 years, can't move the needle. They take Thorne for 3 months, 6 months, retest, and they're like, oh, we got to back off on the vitamin D. You're crazy high, right?
Yep.
So it's all about absorbability. The most expensive supplement you could possibly take is one that your body doesn't absorb. So not all are created equal. And then number 2, we also don't want to deal with too much of a good thing, right? So don't be of this mentality that if 10,000 is great, then 20,000 is even better. Let's go off the blood work. There can be such a thing as vitamin D toxicity. So we got to find that happy medium where we're north of 75. We're doing great. We're getting plenty of sunshine, and then we can back off to that maintenance dosage of like 5,000 a day, right?
Yeah, and like you said, Thorne is the only company, and we've used a lot of vitamin D companies. We've even worked with medical doctors that now prescribe vitamin D through Thorne because it just works. And a lot of that you guys don't have to understand, but there's a lot of additives and things added into supplements. So even though you're like, well, I bought it at the vitamin store or I got it at Costco, here's the reality. It has everything to do with how much your body absorbs. So vitamin D from Thorne is the one that we're going to recommend. You can buy this from our office. We can also set you up with a Thorne account, which is free, and you get a 10% discount. But what I love about vitamin D through Thorne is they sell it in 5,000, 10,000, and 1,000. So rule of thumb for like a maintenance level, just like generically, is for every 25 pounds you weigh, you should be supplementing with about 1,000 international units. So what I love about this for kids, because kids absolutely should be supplementing with vitamin D. You do not get enough of it being outside. You don't get enough of it being with your food sources. Is Thorne's 1,000, all of theirs, you can actually open the capsule and pour it in like a Dixie cup of water, and it is completely tasteless. It's colorless. So they have no idea that they're even doing it. Our nephew actually even just chews on it. Like I don't know what he thinks it is, but
he's a maniac. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, Danny, Thorne is vegan. So, but make sure you guys do this. Okay. Super easy. Again, the kids were feeling like a little ran down. No, they didn't have COVID. They're just kids. And we upped their vitamin D the last couple of days, gave them a couple of things we're going to talk about today. And like Cruz went bouncing for like an hour yesterday.
Yeah. Do you see my face?
Yeah. So again, vitamin D is super, super, super important. I cannot stress that enough. And then also more importantly, so is knowing what your vitamin D level is. That is one thing we do recommend you get tested on a yearly basis. That's something that we run in our blood work every single year. Again, like I said, you can do it just as simple as a finger prick. It doesn't have to be done through your doctor with like a blood draw. Again, we're all about doing as many tests as possible at home in the comfort of your own home without having to expose you to the hospital setting or just anything like that. So,
Yep.
Cool. All right. Next supplement when we talk about immune support that you must have is colloidal silver. Go ahead, Dr. Seth.
Yeah, so colloidal silver actually dates all the way back to the Black Plague. And where that came from was rich people not wanting looters to come in and steal their gold and silver. So what they would do is they would eat their silver. And people that were sick were eating their silver to hide it from the bandits and ended up not dying from the Black Plague. So what they found is silver is incredibly potent in terms of its antimicrobial properties. Does that mean you should be swallowing silver? No. Colloidal silver is they're like nanoparticles. They're very, 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 very small. Okay. It's not something that you should be taking every day as a health measure because, you know, again, we can have silver toxicity. We can have it, really any metal, iron toxicity, gold toxicity, whatever it is.
Copper.
So we don't want to be continually taking it all the time. But when the sniffles come around, or if you've been off your game, and you're like, man, I'm just feeling run down. Colloidal silver is a must. And what's so cool about it is you can target it in your respiratory pathways. You can ingest it. You can use it as a throat spray. You name it. You can get it delivered to whatever system you want to help support in terms of antimicrobial properties.
Yeah. And the cool thing, another cool thing I like about a lot of the things we're talking about today is Sovereign Silver doesn't really taste like anything. So again, we work with a lot of kids and sometimes it's really hard to get them to do some of the nasty herbs. Like obviously as adults, we can suck it up and it's fine. But with kids, like you've kind of got one shot. So the colloidal silver is pretty much tasteless. It tastes like a little funky water. But again, we've been using this on kids like as teeny tiny as possible. And so the dosaging for colloidal silver is different. Dr. Seth, I'll answer that question with Marissa in just a second.
Yeah.
The dosaging for colloidal silver is different depending upon how many other things you're doing. So like if you go on Sovereign Silver's website, I love their website because it's very user-friendly as a patient. It tells you dosaging based upon age, based upon weight. But what I always like to tell people is their dosaging seems like a lot. And that's if like this is the only line of defense you're doing. So like if you're taking vitamin D and colloidal silver, like you probably don't need to do like as much colloidal silver as their website is showing. So for us, we have these bottles everywhere. We really, for like a dosaging, just do about a dropper full. For the most part, we do it sublingual with the kids, with us. But those of you that saw on my stories, one of the newer things that we've been doing, I suffer a lot with allergies and just like my weakest area of my body is always my, like my sinuses. And so what you can do is you can actually buy a nebulizer on Amazon, which I'm going to post in the comments because I really think every household should have this because sinus infections happen. The COVID thing affects our respiratory system. So a preventative protocol that you can do for your health is actually nebulizing colloidal silver because it's an antiviral, antibacterial. You'll put a little bit of colloidal silver in your nebulizer, put the mask on, and it's about what, 20 minutes. I sat there and watched TV.
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. The other night I was playing on Facebook while I did it. And it's just going to seep in through, like Dr. Seth was saying, you could ingest it like sublingually. You can do it through your respiratory system, through your nasal passageway, which is where the virus that everybody's really worried about right now and hyper aware of lives, right? That's why we test up the nasal passageway. So again, the more things that you can do proactively, you can also do them in a crisis, but we're all about preventative and proactive healthcare so that we're taking care of ourselves, not waiting until we're in a situation. So that's something that we've been doing on a regular basis. It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. Even just when I have allergies, I feel like it's like cleansing to my sinuses. So I bought our nebulizer on Amazon, and I'm going to post that in the comments right now. Marissa had asked, is it cheaper to order on Thorne through an account or Amazon? It's 100% cheaper to order through Thorne. They charge you no shipping. You get 10% as a patient discount. You just have to set up an account through us. And then here's the really scary thing about buying supplements on Amazon. And I love Amazon, but Dr. Seth, you want to take this really quick while I get the link, why we don't buy supplements on Amazon?
Yeah. For the most part. So I'll preface that with one thing. So first of all, you keep saying sublingual over and over again. Sublingual just means you put it under your tongue. That's all that means. So no big deal. No, it's okay. So one company that I will buy through Amazon is it's called Ancestral Supplements, a lot of like the organ meat. And that's because the company is set up for their distribution directly through Amazon, which means there's a no compete clause. You can't buy ancestral supplements from another company on Amazon. So like that would be one that would be safe. But what ends up happening is like, if you're finding this product at $60, $70, some lower integrity individuals, what they see is like, okay, well, I'll just steal that label. I've got a manufacturing company that can make me bottles. I'll put in pills that look like that, and they're straight placebo. So there's no regulatory conditions. It's kind of like the Wild West there. And so unless you're buying it directly from the company or directly from a wholesaler that's getting it from the company, it's really dangerous. Especially, you know, we work a lot with people who have cancer. They're seeking treatment overseas. They're starting their protocols beforehand. And I mean, literally their life's on the line, and they're going on Amazon first, and they're getting all these phony products. And so it's a big, big problem. But it's like whack-a-mole. You snuff out some bad guys that are doing the wrong thing, you shut them down, and then 5 more pop up. So please be very careful with essential oils, colloidal silver, supplementation, anything on Amazon from a private seller, because, oh man, you don't want to be gambling with your health.
Well, and that's like, I've worked with people, we're going to talk all about essential oils next week, because that's like a whole entire discussion. But I'm like, they get their pills and I look at them, I'm like, this is not what it's supposed to look like, or their oils. And I'm like, that's not right. Because again, you can maneuver and you can get shrink wrap and you can do all this stuff. So again, when you buy on Amazon, ideally don't buy your supplements on Amazon. We have patient accounts through all of the supplement companies that you actually get better pricing from anyways. But if you do, pay attention to where it says that it's coming from. Like, so it should be like the Thorne store, which, just so you guys know, Thorne doesn't sell directly to Amazon. Standard Process doesn't sell directly to Amazon. Like you said, really the only company that we buy directly on Amazon, for the most part, if I can think of it, is Ancestral Supplements for liver glandulars, because they're the only company right now. So
I think Ion Gut Health also does.
Oh, yes. Ion Gut Health only sells via Amazon. So, I mean, there's a couple. So colloidal silver from Amazon could be okay. I don't know if colloidal silver on Amazon is from Sovereign Silver. We also just recently started getting these big bottles in the clinic from Designs for Health. So if you know you're going through colloidal silver a lot, we have this availability. It's meant to be like bulk, so for like refill, and then also for patients that are okay with us like refilling, it's actually cheaper than buying like a brand new bottle at the store. We have this in the clinic now to refill your bottles at a cheaper price, just because again, we're trying to do everything to make sure that this is as cost effective as possible so you can keep your family healthy and well. So like, we have this huge bottle, we like filled up our bottles, we have one in every room, we filled up my sister-in-laws, my parents, like, and it's a heck of a steal. It's way cheaper than buying individually from Sovereign Silver. So, and if you bought the Sovereign Silver from Amazon, then you should be good as long as it came from the Sovereign Silver store. So, yep, cool.
So there you go.
Colloidal silver is an easy one. This can even be like a daily thing for the most part. We just put it underneath your tongue first thing in the morning. I put it by our toothbrushes, so that basically we brush our teeth, yes, and then we do our Sovereign Silver every morning. So,
yep.
Yeah, cool.
I apologize for the clickety clack. My dog is freaking out right now for whatever.
I wasn't sure if it's Cruz or the dog that's distracting you.
Yeah, the dog. And Cruz is jumping on the couch, waving at me and telling me to be quiet. So.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. You want to go over our favorite herb?
Yeah.
For immune support.
So this is one that I got turned on to a while ago. And for a while, I was really the only person on our patient base that was taking it. And then you're like, huh, what's that thing? And I was like, well, it's really good for this, this, and this. You're like, well, I want to take that. And then now I'm going through it twice as fast. So,
well, and then the kids just started taking it.
This is called astragalus. Okay. So in the land of essential oils, there's a phrase that says, when in doubt, bust frankincense out. Okay. Mm-hmm. Meaning it's great for all sorts of things. And if you're not sure what essential oil you need, use frankincense. In Herbland, when in doubt, bust astragalus out. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it does a whole bunch of things, but mainly it's got this compound called astragaloside in it. And what that is tremendously stimulating to the immune system. Okay. So if you're ran down, it's going to bring things back to center. And what I love about that is immune stimulating compounds. It can be a deal with the devil, because if a person is autoimmune sensitive, which means their immune system is overactive, and then you give them an immune stimulant, guess what happens? It's recipe for a bad day stuff. What astragalus does is it's homeostatic. It's adaptogenic. So it'll help bring you to normal without pushing your body over the edge. It also has tremendous digestive health capabilities, tremendous kidney support function, digestive support function, blood sugar regulation,
adrenal function,
yeah, you name it. And so one of the reasons why you get mad at me because you're like, yeah, nothing ever bothers you, you never get stressed out, it's because I live on kava, poppy, and astragalus. Right. So it's just like, yeah, man, not worth it, it's all good. And whenever like our schedule's double booked, you're like, I'm gonna have to move this person, I'm like, we'll figure it out. Yeah. It's always all good. Thanks to astragalus. So for immune stuff, that's where would be my go-to in Herbland.
Yeah. And I just want to point out, like you said, it's like a homeostatic immune support. And that can be kind of confusing, especially right now in the current climate where the verbiage like cytokine storm, you're hearing like, oh my gosh, if I take too much elderberry, is that going to stimulate the cytokine storm, which we'll talk about elderberry next week. And so like, part of me wants to just tell you guys, like, don't worry. First of all, just always message us, get a hold of us so that you don't have to be the doctor for yourself. Like that never works. But like what we're talking about is like echinacea can boost your immune system. And just because you're sick, it doesn't always mean like such a simple thing as you have a weakened immune system. And I know that's kind of confusing, but that plays into like what Dr. Seth was saying about like the autoimmunity component. So like, for instance, echinacea is an immune boosting supplement. So that's not always the best supplement across the board for everybody. Same with like elderberry, same with some of those things like that. So again, what we're talking about today are all ones that no matter what your immune profile looks like, whether you're tending towards autoimmunity or immune deficient, these are all going to be across the board good. So like, we're going to get a lot of questions like, what about elderberry? What about echinacea? Well, those are things that really depend based upon like your body profile, your blood panels, your immune panels, those kinds of things, which is where over the years, we've gotten really good at understanding that like even natural healthcare cannot be like cookie cutter. It's meant to be very specific for you, which is why a lot of people knock it, because elderberry may not be the right call for every single person. Echinacea may not be the right call, or why some people are like, oh, I took that, tasted disgusting, and it did nothing for me. Yeah, because it maybe actually made your situation worse. So again, that's why rule of thumb across the board is always do immune like homeostatic protocols that don't matter whether you're immunocompromised or have any issues. They're going to just help create a healing environment in your body. Make sense?
Makes sense to me.
So let's talk about vitamin C as our last thing that we want to talk about for today. And again, like I said, this is a 2-part series. So next week, we'll be talking about a whole lot more essential oils and things like that. So last one we want to talk about is vitamin C today. And that's confusing too, because you go to the vitamin store and there's 7,000 different types of vitamin C. There's vitamin C in a powder form. There's vitamin C in a pill form. There's vitamin C with this, with that. So let's kind of like go over just general rule of thumb, vitamin C therapy, dosaging, all that stuff.
Yeah. So vitamin C, what can be confusing is it's called a bunch of different things. Let's just keep this very, very plain and vanilla. Get thorn buffered vitamin C powder, and we don't have to worry about it. So buffered, all that means is when they're putting it in the bottle, they shake it up so it kind of tampers it down. That way you're not like think of it like when people fill up your cup with ice and then they're like, hey, I only got like 6 ounces of tea in there or whatever. It's like, well, because it's mainly full of ice. When you don't buffer it or shake it down, you're not getting the right quantity in the bottle. So you kind of get ripped off that way. I like it in powdered form also because it's just the product itself. Anytime you put stuff in capsule, you're going to, make a deal with the devil. There's other things in there. There's binding agents. There's, you name it, all sorts of stuff you don't want to deal with. So keeping it a vitamin supplement, an herb in its most purest form is always going to be best. So my dosaging, when you're starting to feel run down, whatever the recommended dose is on the bottle, I double it. Okay. If I'm full blown sick, and which happens once every 5 years or so, if I'm legit sick and I'm a really big baby for like 24 hours and then I'm over it. But what I will do is I will actually keep taking a dosage. So I'll take a dosage, wait a few hours, take another dose, wait a few hours, take another dose. And when I have watery stool, it's time to be done dosing with vitamin C. So I literally take it until I have diarrhea, maybe TMI, but that way I know my body's like, all right, we have more than enough we need. We're going to get rid of the excess of it. I'm like, okay, I'll listen to you. I'll back off. That's how I do it.
And that's the verbiage of that is you'll see a lot of people are asking for like detox protocols. We'll talk about that on another call, but you'll always hear the dosaging of vitamin C take until bowel, BOWEL, like bowel tolerance, meaning as soon as your stool becomes watery or diarrhea, you've hit the limit of what your body needs. Again, without doing blood work, like we can't get as specific. So you've got to listen to your body. So when we give you vitamin D dosages, especially like in a crisis or in sickness, we're going to say, take it until bowel tolerance. So as soon as you hit that diarrhea, watery stool, that's when you can back off of the mega dosing and go back to the regular dosaging per the bottle. So again, that's what we mean when we say bowel tolerance, is getting up to that. So like that's for like all things, not just sickness. There's some other things that we could do with vitamin C that are really cool, but that's what we mean by that. So
yep.
And then vitamin C, I'm going to tell you guys, like buffered vitamin C does not taste good. It's like real chalky tasting. Sorry. The other day we did it for the kids and we all did like a little vitamin C like mocktail. And I did it with like some sparkling water and then the buffered vitamin C, which is bubbly, which is why we did sparkling water. And then I did a drop of like essential oil to kind of like cover the flavor. And they thought it was fun. They're like, it's still kind of gross, but they drank it. It's fine. So again, like not all of this is meant to taste great. It's fine. It's better than being sick. So just get over it. But I hear all the time, oh my God, that was so gross. Oh, okay. It was for 35 seconds. Like you'll be fine.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Okay, cool. So as always, we just want to keep pre-framing this because a lot of people are like, well, I don't know what to do after I listen to this. Like, where do I get started? Send us an email if you ever have any questions. Like you have connections with us. Make sure you send us email, ask questions. What do? I have this issue. I'm worried about that. We are always available to you guys. So I'm going to put our emails in the email box. I will say Dr. Seth is usually a little bit quicker to his emails nowadays than I am, which is embarrassing, but
I'm pretty quick off the draw, let me tell you.
So I just put in the chat window both our emails. So again, anytime you guys have questions, please, that's what we're here for. Send us an email, let us know. We can always hop on a call, things like that. Emails are definitely by far the best way to get a hold of us, because no matter where we're at, we can answer that, whether we're at work, in between patients. So, and I'm with Mimi. I like to say you taste results. I agree. There's something psychological about the nastier it is, the healthier it is for your body. So it's just like, well, get over it.
It's true.
All right, everybody. We hope you guys learned a lot. Make sure, again, action steps for today is make sure you know what your vitamin D level is. If you don't, get it tested, whether that's through your doctor or get in connection with us, and we can get you guys an at-home kit that you can do and have the results back pretty fast. And then start dosing with vitamin D right now as we enter into the crazy season of more predisposition to stress and immune compromise. So again, as always, ask questions. We hope you learned a lot today, and we will see you next week on Sunday for the immune system part 2. Bye, everybody.